Let me tell you something that happened to me just last Tuesday morning. I was making breakfast, eggs, toast, the usual, and I got distracted by a phone call. By the time I came back to the stove, my favorite pan had a layer of black, crusty, burned mess stuck to the bottom so bad it looked like it had been through a campfire. I stood there staring at it thinking, this pan is done. It's finished. Time to throw it away. But then I remembered something, a little trick, a simple, almost embarrassingly easy trick that I had learned from an old neighbor of mine, a woman who had been cooking for her family of 7 for over 40 years, and whose pans still looked practically brand new. And I thought, no, I'm not throwing this pan away. Let me try it first. 12 minutes later, and I mean exactly 12 minutes, that pan was clean. Not kind of clean, not still has a few spots. Clean, like it had just come out of the box. No scrubbing, no steel wool, no ruined nails, no hurting my wrists, no expensive store-bought chemicals. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, step by step, so that you never have to throw away another burned pan again. But here's the thing, there's not just one trick in this video, there are several, and each one is going to surprise you more than the last. So whatever you do, do not click away, because the one that comes near the end of this video, that one is the most powerful of all, and most people have no idea it even exists. Let's get started. Part 1. Why burned food sticks so violently, and why scrubbing makes it worse. Before we get into the hacks, you need to understand something that most people get completely wrong, and it's the reason why burned pans feel impossible to clean. When food burns onto a pan, it doesn't just sit on top of the surface. It actually bonds to the metal through a process called carbonization. The sugars, proteins, and fats in the food literally fuse with the pan's surface under high heat. It becomes almost like a layer of hard carbon, similar to charcoal, and it grips the metal like glue. Now, here's where most of us make the mistake. We grab a scrubber, a steel wool pad, or a rough sponge, and we start scrubbing with everything we've got. And what happens? The burned layer barely moves. But you know what does move? The coating on your pan. You scratch it, you damage it, you make it harder to cook on in the future, and you make future burning even more likely. So scrubbing is actually working against you. It's making the problem worse over time. The real solution, the solution that actually works, is to break that carbon bond chemically, not physically. You need to dissolve it, lift it, and let it release on its own. And that's exactly what these tricks do. They work with science, not against it. Now, are you ready for the first one? Because this one uses something sitting in your kitchen right now, and it works in a way that is almost like magic. Part 2. The boiling water plus dish soap method, the quick fix that works every time. This is the foundation. This is your first line of defense for any burned pan, and it works on almost every type: stainless steel, non-stick, cast iron alternatives, enamel, you name it. Here's exactly what you do. First, do not let the pan cool down completely if you catch it early. A warm pan responds faster, but even if it's cold, this still works perfectly. Pour enough water into the burned pan to cover the burned area completely. Then add just 2 to 3 drops of regular dish soap. Nothing fancy, just your everyday dish soap. Now, put the pan back on the stove and turn the heat to medium. Here's what you're doing. You're creating a hot, soapy environment that penetrates underneath that burned carbon layer. The heat causes the metal to expand very slightly, and the soap molecules get in between the burned food and the surface of the pan. Let it come to a gentle boil, and then let it simmer for about 8 to 10 minutes. Now, this is the part where people make the mistake. They turn off the heat and immediately try to scrub. Don't do that. Turn off the heat and let it sit for another 2 to 3 minutes. You want that hot, soapy water to keep working even after the heat is off. Then, and this is the beautiful part, take a wooden spoon or a silicone spatula and gently push along the bottom of the pan. Watch what happens. That burned layer, it starts to slide. It lifts. It releases like it was never even stuck. Pour out the water, give it a gentle rinse, and in most cases, that pan is clean. But what if there are still some stubborn spots? What if the burn was really bad? That's where the next trick comes in, and this one involves something in your pantry that you probably use every day. Part 3. Baking soda and vinegar, the fizzing reaction that destroys burned residue. Get ready because this one is so satisfying to watch that you'll actually look forward to having a burned pan just to try it. Here's what you need: baking soda and white vinegar. That's it. 2 ingredients that cost almost nothing and together create one of the most powerful natural cleaning reactions you've ever seen. Start by making sure the pan is dry. Sprinkle a generous layer of baking soda over the entire burned area. Don't be shy, really coat it. You want a good, thick layer sitting on that burn. Now, slowly pour white vinegar over the baking soda and watch what happens. It fizzes, it bubbles, it foams up like a little science experiment right there in your pan. And that is not just for show. That reaction is chemistry working for you. The acid in the vinegar reacts with the alkaline baking soda, and together they create something called carbonic acid, which breaks down burned organic matter on a molecular level. Let that fizzing reaction sit for at least 3 to 5 minutes. Don't rush it. Let the bubbles do their work. Then add a small amount of water, just enough to make a paste, and put the pan on the stove over low heat for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, turn off the heat. Take a damp cloth or the soft side of a sponge, not the rough side, and wipe gently. The burned residue will come off in dark flakes, wiping away cleanly without any real effort. Rinse with warm water, and you're done. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. What about my really old pans, the ones that have years of burned grease built up on the outside and inside both? Because that's a different situation entirely. That's not one burn, that's layers upon layers. Well, stay right with me because the next method is specifically designed for exactly that situation, and it involves something you may have never thought to use on a pan in your life. Part 4. The dryer sheet overnight soak, the lazy person's secret weapon. Yes, you read that right. A dryer sheet. This one sounds so crazy that most people laugh when they first hear it, but then they try it and they never go back. Here's how it works. Take the burned pan and fill it with warm water, just enough to cover the burned area. Then drop 1 or 2 regular dryer sheets into the water. Just lay them flat in the pan. Put the lid on if you have one, or just leave it open. And then walk away. Go to bed. Watch your favorite show. Do whatever you want. In the morning, or after at least 6 to 8 hours, come back to the pan. The dryer sheets contain fabric softening agents, specifically compounds called cationic surfactants, that are incredibly effective at loosening burned and baked-on grease. These compounds work slowly but powerfully, seeping under the burned layer and dissolving the bond between the carbon and the pan surface. When you come back, remove the dryer sheets and use a soft cloth to wipe the pan. The burned food will wipe away with almost no effort at all. It's as if the pan cleaned itself while you slept. Now, rinse thoroughly with soap and warm water to remove any dryer sheet residue, and you're done. This method is absolutely perfect for seniors or anyone with arthritis or limited grip strength because there is literally zero scrubbing involved, zero effort, just patience. But now we're getting to the really powerful ones because what we've talked about so far works for most burned pans, but there's a specific type of burn, that thick, black, almost tar-like buildup on the outside and bottom of older pans that needs something stronger. And this next method, this is the one people cannot believe actually works. Part 5. The cream of tartar method, the old-fashioned secret nobody talks about anymore. Cream of tartar. If you have it in your spice cabinet, and many of us do because we bought it for one recipe years ago and forgot about it, you're sitting on a powerful pan cleaning secret. Cream of tartar is a mild acid, tartaric acid, that is extraordinarily good at breaking down mineral deposits, discoloration, and burned food residue, especially on stainless steel pans. Here's what you do. Fill the stained or burned pan with enough water to cover the problem area. Add 2 to 3 tablespoons of cream of tartar to the water and stir gently. Bring the mixture to a boil on the stove, then reduce to a simmer for 10 to 12 minutes. Turn off the heat and let it cool for 5 minutes. Then pour it out and look at your pan. What you'll often find is that the burned residue has lifted almost completely on its own. Any remaining spots can be wiped away with a soft sponge with almost no pressure at all. This method is particularly incredible for stainless steel pans that have turned blue, yellow, or have that rainbow discoloration from overheating. Cream of tartar removes that discoloration completely and brings back the shine like the pan is brand new. But we're not done yet, because I promised you the most powerful method at the end, and we're almost there. But first, there's one more thing you need to know, and it's something that will change how you cook forever. Part 6. Salt plus oil, the ancient method for cast iron and stubborn grease. For those of you with cast iron skillets, and cast iron is making a huge comeback right now because people are realizing how incredible it is for cooking, you already know that you cannot use soap on cast iron. It strips the seasoning. So what do you do when cast iron gets burned? You use salt and oil. This is an ancient method that people have been using for hundreds of years, and it is absolutely perfect. Pour a generous amount of coarse salt, sea salt or kosher salt works best, into the burned cast iron pan. Add just a tiny splash of cooking oil. Vegetable or canola oil works perfectly. Now take a folded paper towel and use it to scrub the salt around the pan in circular motions. The salt acts as a natural abrasive, but unlike steel wool or rough scrubbers, it won't damage the surface. It scrubs away the burned food without scratching the iron metal. The oil picks up the residue and lifts it away. After scrubbing for 2 to 3 minutes, pour out the dirty salt and wipe the pan clean with a fresh paper towel. Then, and this step is critical for cast iron, put the pan on the stove over low heat for 2 to 3 minutes to dry it completely and rub a very thin layer of oil over the surface to re-season it. Your cast iron pan will look better than ever. Now, are you still with me? Good, because this next one, the one I've been building up to, this is the one that went absolutely viral in communities online, and when you see what it involves, you're going to think I've lost my mind. But stick with me, because the results are unbelievable. Part 7. The aluminum foil plus baking soda paste, the most powerful trick in this entire video. This is it. This is the big one. For the absolute worst burned pans, pans that have layers of black carbonized grease that have built up over months or years, this method is the answer. Make a thick paste by mixing baking soda with just enough dish soap to create something like a thick cream, about 3 tablespoons of baking soda to 1 tablespoon of dish soap. Apply this paste generously over every burned area of the pan, inside and outside if needed. Really coat it. Now, take a sheet of aluminum foil and crumple it into a loose ball. Not too tight, you want it a little fluffy so it has some give. Use this aluminum foil ball to scrub the paste into the burned areas. Here's the science. The aluminum is softer than steel, but harder than the carbon buildup. It physically dislodges the burned layer without scratching the pan metal underneath. Meanwhile, the baking soda paste is chemically breaking down the grease and carbon at the same time. You're getting mechanical and chemical cleaning power simultaneously, and the combination is extraordinary. Work in circular motions, applying medium pressure. Add a few drops of water if the paste starts to dry out. After 3 to 5 minutes of scrubbing, rinse with hot water. The difference will stop you in your tracks. Pans that you thought were permanently ruined, pans that had been sitting at the back of the cabinet because you gave up on them, will come back to life. It is genuinely one of those moments where you say out loud, "I cannot believe that worked." Bonus tip: how to prevent pans from burning in the first place. Now that you know how to fix burned pans, let me give you the one tip that makes all of this much less necessary going forward. Always preheat your pan before adding oil or food. A properly preheated pan creates a temporary non-stick surface on almost any metal, even stainless steel. Add your oil after the pan is hot, let the oil shimmer for a few seconds, and then add your food. This single habit prevents 80% of all burned food situations. And whenever you walk away from the stove, even for a phone call, even for just a minute, always turn the heat down. Always. So there you have it. 7 powerful tricks, all simple, all using things you already have at home, that will rescue your burned pans and keep them looking beautiful for years to come. No expensive products, no back-breaking scrubbing, no more throwing away perfectly good cookware just because of a little burned mess. The next time you burn a pan, and we all do, no matter how careful we are, you'll know exactly what to do. And instead of feeling frustrated, you might actually feel a little excited because now you know the secret. Try whichever method fits your situation, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed. If this video helped you today, please give it a thumbs up. It truly means the world and helps this channel reach more people just like you. And if you have a friend or family member who's been struggling with burned pans, share this video with them. They will thank you for it. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves and take care of those pans.